Hello, beautiful people, and welcome. Hi to this batch's attempt of doing Stygian on the J account. And oh boy, is this gonna be a difficult one. For those of you that aren't in the know, I've decided that every patch I'll be doing a video attempting Stygian on this account that I made for Stygian release, where I go for cons on characters with the goal of eventually being able to do Dire. Now, if I knew everything I know now when I started the account with which characters would get released and how good those characters would be, I probably would have been able to get a Dire clear already if I went for Nefer instead of Flynn's, if I went for a proper attempt on an Abyss where one of the sides was cheesable with Jean. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, as much as the goal with this account is to have an account that can do Dire, I never really cared too much about taking the best possible route for it. The goal is to have an account that can do Dire, but that is also fun, that I don't dread playing on. Anyways, this Stygian is going to be rough because I don't have a cryo carry for this boss. And it's not just that I don't have a cryo carry. I don't have a lot of the cryo supports, including some of the 4-stars that are good here. I don't have Diona. Obviously, I don't have Escoffier. I don't have Lila. And that's going to make shit hard. Because obviously, cryo carries are the best for this. But if you don't have a cryo carry, you might be able to get through with a melt carry. And my Mavuika is C2. R2 melt flower, sure. But C2 nonetheless. So we could get through this. Problem is, our cryo options suck ass. The C0 Rosaria and Charlotte, I don't know if it'll be enough. I mean, I'll try. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm pretty sure even if I went for Skirk and Escoffier here, I don't even have enough Primos to guarantee Skirk and Escoffier, let alone Sig. And I don't have Farina, so I probably wouldn't be able to do Dire with Skirk anyways, so I'm not gonna bother with that. But that means I still only have 2 teams. I have the Flint team and I have the Mavuika team. And on top of that, I don't have a proper cryo carry for this. So let's not even think about Dire. Today, the challenge is gonna be doing Fearless. Because without the right cryo characters for this, it's rough. And while I do have Flynn's for this, I don't have another team for this, so I'm gonna have to split my Flynn's team in 2. Will that be enough? Oh, I do not know. And like I said, this is gonna make it into a video whether I make it or not. So I'm just gonna get started. I wanna see how cooked this is, because we're gonna have to deal with the Night Soul mechanic, but we also need to make sure we have enough cryo.
Punishment. On my hook. Hard-hitting exclusive. Light of the blazing sun.
That is not looking like enough cryo. Maybe K is enough.
Oh, so sorry.
Controlled breathing. Start the hard-hitting exclusive. Wrap from the sky. Rev the engine.
Yeah, this one's kind of cooked. I need to have the Kea burst. I can't use Mavuika burst without Kea burst.
This moment will be frozen.
Okay, I think I'm good here at least to get the... No. It didn't crit. I got it, but didn't crit. I have 99.3 crit rate, by the way.
Pyroclastic surge. Ooh, is this
Oh, yeah. I might not be able to do this one then.
stronger?
Don't get frostbite.
No, I alt swapped and it didn't work. GG. How can that even happen? I alt swapped. How is it even possible that I swap but don't get the burst off?
Breaking news. Controlled breathing. On.
I love the Charlotte 8. Yeah, it is a banger.
Burn it. Quick as a flash.
Gonna catch the particles on her here, then proc the 5, then catch the particles on her, then burst, and 1C. This. Okay, good start. This is how we do the start for sure.
Surge.
Dodge this.
Then battery back onto her.
Smile. Breaking news. Faster. Stronger.
Don't get frostbite.
We're kind of dying.
Blazing sun. Full throttle.
Cool it.
They're not synced, which is kind of bad, but
Shoot bomb. Start the
Dodge.
we got enough cryo to keep it passive.
surge.
Wait, this is a very good start.
Incinerate. 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 Say cheese. Breaking news. Quick as a flash.
Oh, so sorry.
Light of the blazing sun.
We missed the melts here, but We might still get there because we got a really good setup with the...
Pose. Hard-hitting exclusive. Start the
with the rest.
Don't get frostbite.
And we'll have time to do 2 Mavuika bursts.
incinerate. Incinerate.
Mm.
Try and stop.
Dodge this.
Smile. True bomb. Let's
This will be frozen.
light up the blazing sun.
Yes! We did it. Okay, we did it. All right, let's go. Good stuff. Wait, that actually took a lot less time than I expected. Holy shit. Yeah, we're still gonna have to get through this shit. So like, we're not out of the woods just yet. First, let me just see if Flynn's actually can do this without Fischl.
Let's light it up.
I dashed. You.
I'm going in.
Oh wait, the sack didn't proc. Oh my god.
Be silent. Observe. To dust.
What? That one-shots me? Jesus.
Let's light it up.
Did I proc the sack? I didn't. That's amazing. I love using R1 support weapons. Fuck! Stupid blind idiot! Didn't proc sack. It's like I'm doing a triple hit on 5 enemies at the same time, and somehow I'm not getting the sack proc. Like, and it's consistently not getting the sack proc. Like, how is this even possible? Again! Like, how? 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 There are 15 hits! I get that it's 40%, but there's 15 hits! Maybe this will help, man. I don't know. Half.
Bellowing thunder. Take
My E got oh my god, my E got cancelled.
This is
And I died in the middle of a dash. Okay.
thunderclap. Lightning slash. Huh?
Can't see anything! No, that's fine, that's fine. Personally, I'm a big fan of being completely blinded by a dogshit camera. I love that. Okay, you know what? First of all, we're gonna get all the ER we can. Okay, level a new ER sense. It's fine. That's good. That's good. That's bad. That's good. That's bad. Good enough.
Teamwork is dreamwork.
Observe. Be silent.
Going in. Lightning slash.
Observe.
Oh, my traveler died off field. Love that. Why do they also have to make this boss able to one-shot you from full HP? Like, did we really need to make that shit this awful? Was that really necessary?
To dust. Observe.
I f***ed up. Nice burst, idiot. Okay, it's fine if Flynn's eats... Oh, never mind. I was about to say, it's fine if Flynn's eats shit, because he gets healed by Bennett anyways. But he actually got one shot off field, so I take that back. Oh, he's too far. That sucks.
Be silent.
Yeah, we're cooked now. And we have to wait for the Fav particles on Columbina, too. Yeah, it's just over.
Dust.
This is so incredibly unpleasant. One Fav saves this, by the way. That's the worst part. We're 1 Fav away from this being, like, literally 1 try. If I can use the Unson, it's so easy. If I have a Fav, it's so easy. But no, I can't get any of that. Maybe I'll just bring Animo so I don't have to worry about the energy. And I can just funnel the EMC into Flynn's. But I can't use Sucrose. I guess we can bring Lan Yan.
Be silent.
But I don't have a healer now, which is also incredibly scary.
Take this. Up and away.
Oh, you. Okay, but this is probably doable.
Be silent.
I didn't catch him on Flynn's, did I?
Night falls. Observe. Close your eyes. Fear the dark. Observe. Night falls.
I'll just Swap out here. We won't get the energy and we don't have the shred.
Close your eyes. Two ducks.
I missed the additional shred window there.
Observe. Night falls.
Can't see what's going on. Okay. We didn't get hit. Nice.
Close your eyes. Be silent. Two ducks. Observe. Fear the dark. Be silent. Night falls.
This is going very well right now. I didn't time it right. GG.
Be silent.
Ah! I was like 1 energy short from the burst, so I didn't get the iframes. Took a lot of damage. Oh, we're missing one of them. Okay, wait. Okay, no, this is free.
Observe. Be silent. Close
Right?
Fear the
No, no, no. Okay, but it's clearly very, very doable. Maybe I'm supposed to wait a little bit here, just to get the electro swirl.
Close your eyes. Observe. To dust. Be silent. Night falls.
Take this!
Close your eyes. Night falls. Night falls.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Be silent.
I guess. It's not that good. Because he's gonna get up at the bad time.
Observe.
Yeah.
Night falls.
I guess it's fine, honestly.
Close your eyes. Night falls.
Yeah, this is going pretty well. Please land this.
To dust.
Alright.
Take this!
Be silent. Close your eyes.
Okay, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine.
Be silent. Fear the
Okay, wait, this is actually an insane start.
to dust.
Because we're gonna be doing the actual rest of the setup while he jumps.
Up and away!
Close your eyes. To dust. Be silent. Close your eyes. Do you fear the dark? Observe. Do you
Wayne, a new moon rises.
close your eyes? Do you fear the dark?
Is that enough?
Do you fear the
Yeah,
dark?
definitely is. Alright,
Be silent.
easy clap.
To dust.
So Knuckle Duckle is doable like this. We're gonna overwork the out of this Inefa. Let's go do the Sucrose Switch quest. Anyways, we have the witch quest done now, so we'll get a little bit more damage, we'll get more EM on Sucrose, and therefore more EM on Inefa. But Sucrose is level 70, so it doesn't even matter that much. We need to get a better setup, man. We need to proc the Fab in the sack! Also, missed both Fab procs. Love that. We're gonna miss the sack proc now? Yup. Okay. That's a reset. This game. It's straight up just resetting until the RNG decides to be nice. This is kind of a problem, though. Because, like, I need to have 2 E's on Sucrose to reliably get good fall damage, but it's difficult to have 2 E's on Sucrose because I need to E for her energy and the sack won't proc. And the Fab won't proc. I have Fab on both Fischl and Ino, man.
Absorption test. Stay clear.
Okay, and the sack didn't proc either. Love that, man. Love that shit, dude. How am I supposed to not lose my shit when it's literally just a reset until your goddamn abilities trigger?
Midnight, Finn.
I shouldn't have done that. I mean, I guess it's fine. Ah, no, it's not fine. It's over. I mean, it was too slow anyways. Honestly, this shit might not be doable. Like, it's so close, but, like, We need the perfect RNG, and like I'm gonna break something before the perfect RNG happen. Oh no, they're all outside of Ino. Fucking Kalista! Yeah, that was pretty bad. Look at all this time we're losing after we finished the bar because we were like 3 frames too late. Yeah, and now, okay, big, amazing. I'm gonna, dude, okay, you stupid, worthless, goddamn abomination. It's not your fault. Where are you aiming, man? Like, why the f did she aim in that direction? Like, none of them was there. What the f did you just do? You missed? Nah, ain't no f***ing way. Yeah. Knock him inside the Ino burst. Okay, never mind. Sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, so sorry. Yeah. We got it early, but it's cooked. Now we don't get the shred. Like, it's insane how close we are to having enough damage and not needing to rely on the stupid fall damage bullshit. But they always survive with like 2 HP past the Inefa stuff. Maybe we try to refine this? Okay, so that's already a little improvement. There's Sucrose Ascension we should do. All right. Get Sucrose Ascended, get her leveled. This will help our Lunar Charge damage, because Sucrose is pretty much always participating, and our Swirl damage, I suppose. Might as well get these levels, since we have the mats for it. Okay. Might as well get this. Who knows? Maybe that's the difference. All right, let's go back.
Preparing for dust up.
2, 3, 4.
Absorption test. Go claw. Midnight.
Don't jinx it. Do not jinx it. Do not ruin it, Zadef. Don't you dare get up from this spot, man.
By royal decree. Installation chamber deployed. Enhanced animal mod. Preparing for dust up.
2, 3,
6308.
4.
Midnight vent.
Kalista! Sorry.
Absorption test.
Did he dodge my Sucrose skill? Oh my god, I'm Am I allowed to just shoot myself in game?
Enhanced animal ultimatum protocol.
2, 3. Oh, that's kind of bad. 4. Yeah, no. I didn't even f it up. I just... Yeah, they just did not group at all. I'm not taking the blame for that one. The spawn RNG was just really bad. They decided to not get picked up by Sucrose, like, AoE, like, at all. Okay, sick. Not a single fav proc. We have yet to proc Favonius, by the way. We have yet to... There we f***ing go. 17 seconds into the fight, and we get our first fav proc. That's insane, man. Yeah, no, I'm not bothering with this shit. No. Hey, we got the fav. Nice. Okay, didn't get the sack, but we're used to that.
Animal hyperspace annihilation mode.
2, 3, 4.
As you wish, main front.
Okay. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Decent start. Decent start. Decent start. What the fuck am I doing?
Midnight vent.
Okay, well, that's not good. 2, 3, 4. Maybe it's fine. Why did I use the E? Why did I use the E? It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Acceptable. Honestly, pretty good still. Honestly, pretty good still, all things considered.
Automaton protocol.
2, 3, 4.
Cleanup sequence initiated.
What? What do you mean I had 7 seconds to spare? Alright, now we just need to redo this one. Okay, I'm gonna stop trying to maximize the Jade Wing Spear stacks, because I feel like it's making me, like, get the burst at the wrong time. Here, I think we just... okay. I don't know if that was worth it. We might have stayed on him for too long. Okay. He's gonna jump here. He's gonna jump again? No, maybe, perhaps? No clue what the fuck bro's doing right now, but, I mean, it's working, so whatever. I don't mind.
Close your eyes. Observe. Night falls. Close your eyes. Night falls. Observe. To dust. Close your eyes. Observe. To dust.
Am I getting it here?
Do you fear the dark?
Probably. Yeah, definitely. Alright.
Do you fear the dark?
There we go! It's done! It's done! We did it! Let's go! Oh, this was awful. Yeah, let's go through the builds we used and explain a little bit of why we did some of the things we did. First was the Mavuika team. We are cooked on cryos. If I want fast cryo for the boss mechanics, I basically need to bring Charlotte. Honestly, maybe Chi-Chi would have been okay, because Chi-Chi cryo app isn't the best, but when her talisman spins, it hits twice. So it might have been fine, but the problem with Chi-Chi is that her skill cooldown is really long. Like, the skill cooldown is much longer than the duration if you don't proc sack. And, I mean, as you may have noticed, my sack weapons aren't really refined. So proccing sack, sometimes it's not even an RNG thing, sometimes it's just like, it's on cooldown, so I can't proc it. So Chi-Chi would have been kind of rough for me. So I figured, okay, what I need isn't permanent very fast cryo. It's very, very fast cryo to make it so that during my uptime, even if my uptime doesn't last too long, the bar is empty. Because if the bar is completely empty during uptime, the Night Soul version of the boss that summons the very scary water pillars is a lot less angry, and it just stops attacking you when the bar is at 0. Even in Night Soul, when the bar is at 0, the beams stop shooting. And because it's so much scarier in Stygian than in Abyss, then keeping it at 0 is kind of necessary for me not to die when I'm trying to do my damage on Mavuika. But yeah, so the idea here was bring Charlotte, use her burst every rotation, so bring Fav, and use the burst as a way to bring the bar back to 0, since it's probably gone back up at the end of the last rotation. After that, use Kea, because he's fast enough cryo to keep the bar at 0 during his burst. Even though the burst is relatively short duration, it's enough for Mavuika's uptime. So we use Kaya once the bar is at 0 from Charlotte to keep it at 0 and be able to melt during Mavuika. Rosaria isn't fast enough. And obviously I also have Rosaria C0, not C2, so it would have been pretty cooked too. Obviously, using Escoffier could have solved everything. Using Seed Lolly would have been pretty good too, but I don't have either of those, so I had to make do with what I had. And Mavuika Yansan just because it's my strongest way to deal damage. Because like technically you don't need necessarily a second Natlan unit with C2 Mavuika, but it still helps, right? Especially to get the first burst, and Yansan just does a lot. But yeah, so the builds here, Mavuika just on a relatively standard build, but obviously with 15 less crit rate because we get the 15 crit rate from Kara Resonance when we melt, and that's basically all our damage. Yansan on a standard build, I didn't proc the scroll every rotation because honestly, I just kind of had enough damage. All I needed to do was make sure I was keeping the cryo properly, and then I was fine. Charlotte not on TTDS because we have to swap from Kaya to Mavuika for Kaya burst to last long enough to melt Mavuika's stuff, and because we just straight up needed the energy from Fav. She was on Noblesse, even though Noblesse wasn't particularly good uptime, just because like what else is she gonna be on? Kaya and Instructor. Instructor wasn't proccing reliably every rotation because I was more focused on keeping the cryo on the enemy than I was on proccing the Instructor, but sometimes it procced. And honestly, one of the reasons why my Kai is an Instructor is because I just happen to have decent ER on my Instructor pieces, and because it's a relatively new account, there's a lot of sets I just don't have good ER with. Even on my Noblesse, I don't even have great ER. It's kind of just like barely enough to get by. But because I've been farming the Obeyed domain for my Inefa for quite a bit now, I just ended up with a bunch of Instructor, some of which ended up giving me just a little bit of ER. So that was the idea behind the Mavuika team. Then we had to figure out how to get through these two bosses with only one Flynn's team. Sucrose needed to be on Mandragora because it was basically just impossible to get through the Mandragora AoE phase without her grouping. I just don't have another grouper. And then because Knuckle Duckle is so tanky, the goal was to make the worst possible team here that could still clear Mandragora because we needed as much power as possible left for the Knuckle Duckle. Because my Inefa is fairly well built, a bit better built than my Columbina, and because my official build is kind of sus, it was basically just better to do Inefa by herself than Columbina by herself here, which left us with Flynn's Columbina. I could have tried to do Flynn's by himself, that probably clears too, but it is C1 Flynn's, and trying to get through Knuckle Duckle with Binefa without Sucrose, no thank you. But yeah, and once we had the Flynn's Columbina, it was a question of what else to bring. We had a few options. We could try to bring Bennett. The biggest problem that we had with Bennett is that, like I said earlier, my Noblesse ER, my Instructor ER too, I guess to some extent, just isn't like insanely high. Because again, right, this is a relatively new account, and a lot of my resin investment went into my carries builds. And because of that, it was difficult for Bennett to get his burst with only one E per rotation. And then with the fact that I couldn't bring an Animo with Bennett because I didn't have all field Electro, I didn't have a way to swirl Electro if I was bringing Bennett. I was left with Bennett plus an Electro that I had to do, but because I couldn't use Fischl and I couldn't use Eon-san, which are the best two Electros to bring, right? My options were Beidou, Lisa, Dory, but Dory doesn't do too much. Beidou, if you don't get a counter on her skill, is only 2 particles. And also, my Fav Greatsword was on Ino. And then, I mean, Lisa is just not really functional in a team like this. Can't really afford to hold E. That's just way too long. So I ended up deciding, you know what? Let's give Electro MC a shot. And honestly, Electro MC just works really well here. Like, Electro MC is not a very good unit, but the one thing they do provide is a ton of energy, and because I'm on C1 Flynn's, doing Electro MC effectively allowed me to still get my 3 mini bursts without having to build an insanely high amount of ER. Usually, C1 Flynn's ER requirements are a little bit higher because he gets a little bit of energy refund from the C1, but he also gets 1 more mini burst, and that 1 more mini burst effectively means that you're spending more energy than you're gaining from the C1. So his ER requirements are a little bit higher, but because of Electro MC, I was able to completely ignore that. But yeah, and then there's also the fact that Electro MC has a little bit of Electro Shred on the C2, which is nice. And it just made it so that Electro MC was just significantly better than my other Electro alternatives. And once I'm on Electro MC, I can either, 1, use the Electro MC amulets to battery Bennett so I don't have to do an extra E. But if I do that, I either don't get the amulets on Flynn's, or I have to do a second E, and then I'm relying on Sack. And that's a problem for the reasons we mentioned earlier. And so I decided, all right, just bring an Animo instead of Bennett. I ended up bringing Lan Yan because, well, Sucrose isn't available, obviously. And Lan Yan has CTDS and also a little bit of survivability, which Aoife doesn't have. I could have used Aoife. Aoife would have worked too, but the shield from Lan Yan is just a little bit more comfortable because Knuckle Duckle murders you very easily. And I was scared and I was pissing my pants. But yeah, so that's how this team shaped up. But yeah, also sometimes Lan Yan, because the AoE is a little weird, sometimes Lan Yan will get the Electro Shield instead of the Hydro Shield, which is, you know, even tankier. And another nice thing of Lan Yan is when you swap into her and use your E immediately, she steps back early enough that she doesn't pick up the amulets from Electro MC. So let's just show it here, right? If you E on Electro MC,
Lightning flash. Ha.
oops.
Closing in.
Right, as you can see, we don't pick up the amulets. And the amulets stay there for a while, and you get the value from them, even if you pick them late like this. And this also allowed me the flexibility of going to pick them up at the best possible time. You get more energy from the amulets when you're below, I think, 30%. When you're low energy, picking up the amulets gives you more energy. So I could try to set up a mini burst before picking up the amulets to get even more value from them. So that's like an extra synergistic thing that no one has ever thought about because no one has ever played this team before. But that was kind of nice here. Flynn's build, 71, 224. It's a pretty solid Flynn's, but it's not like somehow, I guess the Flynn's leaderboards are just really high. This is like a top 10% Flynn's. Honestly, I probably shouldn't have used this feather. This is more ER than I need. So I probably should have been using something like this maybe. My Sands, my Goblet, and my Circlet. Lan Yan just on VV, Electro MC on Noblesse, and Columbina on Serenade. Technically, it might have been better to go Electro MC on Serenade and Columbina on Obeyed, but one, I wasn't always getting Electro MC burst because I wasn't using Fav, right? I didn't have a free Fav, and while Electro MC is great at batterying other characters, Electro MC is also a character with an 80 cost burst that generates one particle when they use skill. The brunt of the energy generation is in the amulets, and you're not supposed to pick up the amulets on Electro MC. So I wasn't reliably getting Electro MC burst every rotation, and the Serenade effect is way more important than anything else. And because I don't have off-field elemental hits, that is the trigger condition for Serenade without the burst, then I just didn't think it was worth switching to Obeyed, especially because my Serenade gear on Columbina is very good, pretty solid here. I went for an off-piece that had more ER just to reliably get the burst, and I leveled this. I should have been using this, but I didn't think it through, and I did the Mavuika clear first, and it wasn't available unless I wanted to reset my time, and I didn't want to reset my time. It's not like the Flynn's team was the hardest one. The Knuckle Duckle was probably the easiest of the bosses, but that's because obviously I went out of my way to make my Knuckle Duckle team stronger because I knew it was overall the hardest boss. Anyways, I got this Abomination and this pretty solid Circlet. And then the Mandragora, which was honestly the hardest of the three by far. It was okay. It's just that my damage was really low, so I was relying on getting fall damage procs on the mini Mandragoras in order to get through that phase very quickly and go for 3 AoE phases and shredding a lot of the boss's HP through the AoE phases with the fall damage. The fall damage with Sucrose here is like really difficult to time well, but basically Sucrose kind of just gets fall damage just from using her burst against the Mandragora. The fall damage, it kind of just happens by itself, but the first one is a little rough. Like sometimes you don't get it. And if you just let it happen on the last one like this, they still end up relatively ungrouped. So ideally what you want to do is find a way to knock them back during the first knockup from Sucrose, because she has 4 at C2, right? And the C2 actually does matter here because we get 1 extra instance of fall damage. But yeah, so we want to try to knock them back during the first bounce, and we do that with Inefa Burst
Annihilation mode.
to get that extra hit here. And then on the last one,
Absorption test.
we try to set up a Sucrose E. I kind of fucked it up there. And if you set it up at exactly the perfect time, they'll just get brought back down instantly. And you'll get the extra fall damage from that. It's not that it doesn't work without Sucrose C2. It's that Sucrose C2 gets you 1 more instance of fall damage. And if you time it really well, Sucrose's E can increase the velocity of the fall from the burst, and therefore increase the amount of fall damage you're getting. But I wasn't doing that very consistently because I'm not very good. And then, I mean, the builds are a little sus. for this one, right? We had Sucrose, R1, level 60 sac frag with 151 ER. This is the highest amount of ER I could give her. Technically, I could have given her an additional 4.5 ER, but it wouldn't really have changed any of the breakpoints. So this is literally just the ER from the main stat, and that's it. Inefa, R5 shovel. I refined the shovel because, yeah, on a bed. 75, 158. Pretty high crit damage. Flower, pretty solid. Feather, slightly unfortunate for a crafted piece. Sands, it's a lot of ER, but the ER isn't really necessary. Although it was useful because I was using the burst as part of my fall damage setup. The ER wasn't wasted. It was nice to be able to use burst outside of the fall damage setup and still have it back for the fall damage setup. Pretty solid goblet here. And this piece that I wish I could use on Columbina, but it is what it is. And then Fischl was on Serenade because honestly, my artifact quality on Serenade is kind of just higher than a lot of my other sets. I don't have any Golden Troop that I could really use, no TOM and all that. So I just had Fischl on Serenade and I know on Noblesse. And yeah, the Fischl build is definitely sus, right? Level 8 Oz, level 75 Warbow, 45, 155 is okay, but like it's not amazing. And then the Ino, just enough crit rate so that hopefully the Fav procs. Anyways, that's it for this this Stygian. Yeah, I thought the Secret Source automaton would be a lot more of a problem, but we ended up getting through with Charlotte plus Kaya, and it worked out. So it is. I'm pretty happy with that. I kind of never really expected Knuckle Duckle to be too much of a problem because, I mean, as much as Knuckle Duckle is probably the harshest boss that we've ever had in Stygian, it's also a boss that chills one of the units I went for. So, yeah, it is what it is. And Mandragora was honestly a lot harder than I expected it to be. But again, right, it's like I needed to go with the worst possible Mandragora team that could clear. So that was kind of self-imposed. Like, we would have suffered way more on the Knuckle Duckle if we tried to do Ino instead of Columbina like this. But yeah, we somehow managed to succeed. Surely the next Stygian will be doable as well, right? Right? Anyways, as usual, hope you enjoy. Hope you learn a thing or two. If this is your first time watching one of my Stygian videos, you probably just learn how low my patience is when I'm doing Stygian. How easily self-deprecation comes to me when I'm tryharding. It's a byproduct of my upbringing as a League of Legends player. I apologize. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, YouTube.